Shit got slim, big fish eating in a tank full of shrimp. Line full of bitches that are not getting in. They played in the game till I put them on the bench.
All right, welcome to Hip Hop High Society presents our interview series where we sitting down with the latest and greatest up and coming artists, kind of get their takes on the news of the day, also put you onto some dope music in the process. And I'm very, very happy and esteemed and honored to be here with the one and only Chelsea Pastel. Look, I almost butchered it. We just talked about that.
Man,
We just talked about that. What's going on with you, though? How you doing tonight?
I'm excellent. How about yourself?
I am good. I'm above ground. Any day above ground is a good one. You feel me? But I'm
Absolutely.
glad to hear from you. And if people are not familiar, maybe with you, with your background, I'm going to give them a kind of a quick intro about where you grew up, what influences your music, and things of that nature.
Yep. So, what's up? I'm Chelsea Pastel. I'm born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a all-around artist musically, I guess you could say. I rap, I produce, and I write everything. Um,
Ballers.
yeah. Again, born and raised here. As far as like my influences, a lot of it's environmental,
Mm.
Midwest vibes, like pretty much kind of fast paced but slow at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's pretty much our vibe out here. Um, I've been doing it for a while. I started off producing mainly and kind of got into engineering. And eventually I would start recording myself and put my own music out.
Word, dope.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay? I know I
Yeah, I
kind
can
of
hear
talk a
you.
little low. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. And that's very
Cool.
dope. I think that's kind of very unique, just from the musical aspect. You know what I'm saying? Being able to engineer your own, actually writing. Wink, wink for the kids out there. Writing your own bars. You feel me? So that's dope. And I heard you speak about the Midwest. Salute to the Midwest, Chicago, Cleveland, cousins, right here. Um, so like, what was like your early intro to music? Like, what made you want to get into the industry? Like, you know what I'm saying?
My early intro was just being in the back seat, riding around with my mother, my parents, playing music, and then eventually I would start learning how to play actual instruments. Um, I really learned how to play instruments to get into a Cleveland School of the Arts, right? I was going to a private school. I didn't want to go there anymore. And we had instruments laying around the house. So I asked my mother to teach me how to play them. And from there, it would kind of open the doors to everything else. I
Mm,
really was infatuated with keyboards. So I would always try to play what I heard, like by ear.
mm,
Um, and eventually like try to remake the beats, I guess. And then, I started getting hip to the software and going that route, getting Fruity Loops and all of that stuff. Went through probably about 5 laptops in high school, just just
word.
by getting all those crack plugins, the whole nine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my entryway was definitely the keyboard, to say the least.
That's dope. I mean, that's kind of like the best way, I think, especially if you're gonna go into the hip hop, maybe R&B type of realm, is the keyboard, honestly. But yeah, like I'm having Fruity Loops flashbacks. I did a little dabbling music back in the day, and that's one thing I give props to anybody who can actually sit there and produce and make the beats. You got to kind of be on a different level of locked in. And I never could get that. Like I could rap a little bit, but I was like, man, I am not making no beats. This is not for me. I cannot sing. So salute to you. That definitely shows that you musically inclined, you know what I'm saying? But as far as like who's your inspiration, you think, or do you maybe you just do your own thing? I don't know, but I'm gonna ask you that. I'm gonna throw that out for you. Do you got any artists that specifically inspired you or inspire you to do music, anything like that?
Um, Back in the day, I feel like my influences changes, right?
Mm,
Like at the time when I really wanted to start writing, to be honest, like even when I was dabbling in Fruity Loops and all that, Soldier Boy was my inspiration at the time. Like,
you scraping it yet?
MySpace, like, you know what I mean? MySpace, doing all of that, and
Word.
then as time would change, I would get more into music and it would become Kanye. Um,
Oh.
it would become Jay-Z, it would become Tyler, it would change. Um, I'm just all around a fan of music, you know. I've always did want to do my own thing. And you will hear, I don't know if you want to call it influences or more so of or unconscious influences. Like I
Mm,
feel like I'm a sponge, right? So everything that I just accumulate over time will eventually start to come out, right?
mm,
Um, and it could go from anywhere between rap, classic rock influences, um, new wave music, which is more so like art of noise, craft funk, craft work, all that type of stuff. Uh,
mhm,
when it comes to me, you never kind of really know. And I think that's, with producing my own music, I can put out music like that you might have come across, right? Which is more so of
right,
the rap stuff, but I'm sitting on a whole pile of a whole other more experimental genre bending, So for me, my influences are I can't even really explain. It's just a combination of everything that I've been listening to forever.
word. I mean, that's how to me you get the best recipes when you can take something from here, something from there, create something new that's within yourself. You know what I'm saying? That versatility is a big thing. Like never sleep on that, I think a lot of people are doing imitating and a lot of people are doing like copycat shit, just trying to push whatever out. So it's good. It's refreshing to hear somebody who actually is taking those musical influences and combining them to make their own sound. You feel me? And not just
Yeah, for
tying into
sure.
one thing. So that's dope. All right. So I gotta ask the question, the elephant in the room, yo. How you feel about the female rap game right now, yo? What do you think about,
I
in
think
the
it's
gym?
really dope. It's perfect right now.
Right.
You know, it's to be honest with the female rap game, I like the fact that you could do whatever you want right now, right? So for
Mm,
like years, you know, it's always been you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to play by these real specific rules, right?
right.
um you have to do it like this person did it. It wasn't like it is now. I feel like in the
Mm,
90s you had a little bit more variety at a point. You had a lot of female artists coexisting. You had Lil Kim, you had Missy Elliott, you had Eve, you had all these people who could coexist, right?
right.
And then it kind of slowed down for a while. Now we're back in that point of time where you literally can do what you want. I think it's perfect. You can have Sexy Red, you could have Doechii, you could have Doja, you could have me, you could have whoever. I
Mm,
think like if you look at the male rap industry, it's a million rappers who all coexist and they don't necessarily
mm,
get pinned against each other and all of this stuff. So I think with the female rap side of things, it's kind of getting back in, we're controlling it ourselves. We're controlling our own narrative, um, which I think is dope.
hmm I definitely see that too, especially with our focus on independent artists and stuff. I think more so in that lane, you don't see as much as at the top where you have all this super competitive. It can only be two females in the game, and we're all gonna beef if you get beyond two or three, right? I think it's way more people willing to work with each other at that level,
Hmm.
So that's dope to see, and I see that myself, and everything. So what do you think, like going back from the Cleveland, the Midwest connection or whatever, do you think it's more difficult, you think, to break out if you come from the Midwest, right? If I mean outside maybe Chicago, them areas, if you outside that bubble, do you see any kind of difference in
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Um, it's, it's all about it's a few things, right? Like you have certain places where there's already motion. You have people who've been there, done it, and
that?
reach back, right?
Right.
And they build some type of infrastructure in those cities where now it just keeps building. Artists keep building off of each other, and now there's a hell what you would call a music scene, right? We have a music scene here, but there hasn't been like this major um moment to where we've all kind of been able to capitalize. It's always kind of been you had to go somewhere else
Mm-hmm.
to make it pop. You had to go to Atlanta, you got to go to LA, you got to go New York, wherever the motion is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think here it is kind of harder. well, not even kind of, it is harder to make anything happen from Cleveland.
Mm,
Um, we have the talent, you know, it's a very our town is really known for the rock scene, to be honest. It's a lot of the
yeah,
Rock and Roll
Rock
Hall of
Roll
Fame
Hall
is
of
here.
Fame. Yeah, I'm
You
about
know
to
what
say.
I'm saying? Shout out to them. I used to work there. But yeah, like our town is really a rock town. And the more of an indie rock town. Like you got a lot of different venues here. There's always some shows going. But
Mm,
as far as that major um mix of things, it's much harder, I would say. You got to really either make it pop from online, um, and let that music take you to other places and
mm.
then come back. That's what it always kind of seems like. Or, maybe times are changing, maybe something different is in the works. But as of my experience, it is a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I haven't seen anybody put on really Cleveland's like some what's the Ray Cash? Is he from there? I want to
Ray
say.
Cash, yeah, shout out to Ray Cash. MGK is from here. Uh,
Oh
Bone
yeah,
Thug,
MGK for
Kid
sure.
Cudi, Doughboy. It's a few people from here, but
But you know what? I can kind of see that as like more of an opportunity. You feel me? Because I think Memphis is the best example. I think where Memphis was kind of on the outskirts. They had 3-6 back in the day or whatever. But you really didn't see a lot of like people just staying in Memphis and actually building that.
hmm
Now you're seeing like the infrastructures and they, between Glorilla and all these other artists. You know what I mean? Finesse from there. All these artists are coming together now. They building something there, which I think Cleveland could be a place you could do that from. You feel me? Any of these
yeah, I
places.
agree with that.
Hmm. Get it popping, yo. It's on you. Put it on your shoulders. You feel me?
No, for sure.
Yeah. So as far as like any upcoming shows, let's talk about like the music you actually got. Because I know you just dropped a video, which we featured on Women's Wednesday as well. Very dope song, stuff like that.
Thank
If
you.
you wanna, yeah, very dope. And so, do you have any project coming behind that, the single, or is that kind of a pre-release to something that's coming down the pipeline? And make sure you shot the song out as well. You feel me?
Yeah, for sure. So we just dropped Not the Same, and that's featuring Janelle Mack. She's out of Jersey, so shout out to her. Um, as far as what's coming up next, so to be honest, I've sat on a lot of music. Things that are going to start coming out are things that should have been out. Last year, we were planning to put some stuff out. We had some holdups behind the scenes.
Mm,
So now we're kind of playing catch up. So
yeah.
uh it's I'm kind of in just the mode of emptying the clip eventually, whether that's a EP to be exact, or if it's a few more singles. But regardless, it's already there.
Yeah, let it go. Shooters gonna shoot. I say, man. That's
For
the one big
sure.
thing I say. If you got that music, release it. You feel me? I think the more stuff you put out there, of course, the more stuff that might stick or might resonate with somebody, especially with the versatility you show. You feel me?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's very dope. Now I know you talked about how you also like produce some of your own music. I know it's a few artists I've heard of, maybe Crit, Cole, um, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does your creative process works with that? You feel me? Like, do you just have an idea and you automatically make the beat in it, or how does that work with you? How your creative process goes?
If I'm producing it, it's a few ways it could go with me, right? So I can have an idea that's been in my head for a minute all day or
Mm,
all month for that, like
right.
I could have something that's in my head and just try my best to bring that into physical reality, right? So I might start with the beat or a skeleton of that beat, just putting some sounds together. I like starting with the piano and
Mhm.
swapping out the sounds, right?
Right.
So I'll play the piano, use the piano sound, just play out what I'm gonna do. Um, whether it's the chords or just the melodies to get that all structured. And then if I want to change those sounds up, I'll change them from there. Instead of spending so much time going through sounds, except for if it's like something specifically that I already know that I'm looking for, right?
Right.
Sometimes, and I get a lot of beats and production sent to me as well as working with some producers here. I work
Mm,
with a guy here named Cassius G, who's like pretty much one of my go-to people. If I'm not making it, he's usually making it. And with that, it's the same. I'm either just hearing whatever I'm about to say in my head, melodies. I might start off with a couple bars and work around, or, just recently went back to writing on physical paper. I was a phone artist for a second, just type, writing
oh man,
everything
I
on my
can't do
phone.
it. I'll be like, ah. That's the old
Yeah,
edge.
I
Yeah.
used to, so I started with paper. I've always been a paper girl, but I ended up going into my phone more so just out of convenience. And I don't know, like lately I've been back just reading and just physically like reading books, physically writing on paper.
Mhm.
I think that keeps my thoughts a little bit clearer and I'm visual. I have to see things. So like it's just better for me to map out things like that. So, with me, you're gonna see a bunch of pieces of paper scrapped around, but um yeah, I could either start with the beats, start with the words, but I pretty much work at home, in the comforts of here.
That's what's up, yeah. Like I just recently found like some old ass notebooks. Like, I was always a paper dude when I did my little thing. And I was like, yo, these dated ass rhymes from like '08. But it's like I could never like do the phone thing. Yo, salute to people who can. I'll be like, oh my God, I can't do this. But do you think like being that you produce, right? You probably got a different ear for music. Like, can you hear the difference between maybe artists who may be more musically inclined, know a little bit more about the background, how the beat structure works, how to do that? I think some of these dudes can't even count bars, to be honest with you. But can you like hear the quality of music? Do you think is a change in that for people who can maybe produce and also write and also, make their own music as opposed to people who just rap?
To a degree, like, so I feel like the people who produce their own music, from whether that's actually making the beat or the vocal production of it itself, you can tell there's a more unique sound that's kind of made to them. It's not something that can easily be copy and pasted. It's usually that's their sound,
Mm,
if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like
that makes sense.
it's certain artists where it's just like you hear it and you're like, yeah, that's them. That's their sound. Um that's their realm. So like I would say those artists I could tell in that sense. It's easy to rap. Now I'm not even gonna say it's easy to rap. I take that back. You can
Yeah.
come up with music and record, or even if you don't write, you can record and perform the tracks. But as far as creating the whole overall production of it, that's
Hmm.
a little bit different. So I can tell the difference. Usually, it's a little more unique to that artist.
Mm. All right. So being in that, is there any like dream producers, even artists, I would say, someone that you strive to maybe work for? Could you see yourself working with or collabing with? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Um, I have a pretty interesting list. So I've always wanted to work with. I would love to work with Tyler, the creator.
Okay.
I would love to work with Glorilla. I rock with Glorilla.
Yeah,
Um,
I can see that, y'all.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but like I get it. Um, it's certain artists where it's just like I get it. Even
Mm,
Sexy Red, like I get it. Um, and that's somebody else I would actually wouldn't mind working with. I wouldn't mind working with on the production side. There's a guy, Mike Dean, one of my favorites. Would love to work with him.
mm.
Um, let's see who else. Um, hmm. I feel like I'm blanking right now, but then later I'm gonna be like, darn, I wish I said
Are you
this or
gonna
I
have a
wish I
whole
said
list?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like it's a few.
Yeah, I think,
Drawing some blanks, but yeah. I
yeah, I
definitely
feel
would like to work with as far as production, Metro Boomin. I like a lot of his stuff. I
I can see him
mm,
I can see,
like
yeah.
Cardo beats. I like a lot of Atlanta production too. I like Young Thug. It's a list. I would like to work with it pretty much everybody. I'm a
Dope.
chameleon for real. So
That's what's up, yo. Like I said, that go back to that versatility I was talking about. You feel me? Now, as far as like your goals for the future, I know we talked about the artists. Like what do you want to do? What's your ultimate goal? Because I know everybody kind of go with that cliche, be a biggest artist or whatever, be the next Drake, whatever, right? But some people have like a deeper mission in the game. Some people just like to do music in general. You know what I'm saying? So as for you, your personal self, what are your goals in the game, you think?
my goals is to put myself out there so much that I find my people, right? So
Right.
like those I feel like there's a whole bunch of people out there that are like me. Um, as far as who I would relate to. And my
Mm,
goal is to create that space. right? Another one of my goals is to really outdo anything I've ever done. I've had moments where I'll go viral and whatnot, but my main goal is to actually put my city on. The way we were talking about, and put myself in a position to where I can actually reach back.
Word.
Um, I want to be able to get the shiny things, the awards and whatnot, but mainly to put myself in a position to where I can do anything that I want. I can hop on the hardest songs. I could put out the hardest songs. I could be a part of the biggest projects, whether that's actual music or like, for instance, like with Despicable Me soundtracks, that's all for real, or things like that. Like,
Right.
I want to actually be able to do all the things that I enjoy, collaborate with companies that I enjoy, I love, um, and live out my inner child fantasy basically through this realm of music.
Word. And I think you said something very dope too, like you finding your tribe too. You know what I'm saying? As you put yourself out there in your musical journey, of course, you're gonna find people that rock with you. I think that's the best way to kind of outside of the machine pushing you. I think just collaborating with people and stuff like that. And yeah, I think we need more people like you in the game to do. I hate to say it, cliche, but gatekeep, yo, keep some of this whack shit out. You feel me? Excuse my
Nah, I
language,
feel
but
it.
yeah, we kind of need that in the game. So definitely refreshing. Now, as far as like how can people support you, you know what I'm saying? How can people help you along in your musical journey? As anybody out here watching, you know what I'm saying? Where could we stream your shit outside of Spotify's? That's the main thing you're pushing right now. What do you think?
The best way to help me is to stream and share. So my music's everywhere. It's Spotify, Apple, YouTube. If you can stream it from there, it's there. um, the more eyes on it, the more it goes around, the more it grows, right?
Right.
So if you like what you hear, share it. Whether that's posting it, reposting it, sending it to somebody, playing it for some folks, reshare, stay in touch too. Follow me on my platforms. Everything is at Chelsea Pastel, except for Twitter is at Chelsea_Pastel because I couldn't get it. But but yeah, stay in touch. I occasionally put out merch, things like that. Stay in touch to see what shows are coming up next. Um, but yeah, main thing is streaming and sharing. That's the best way to support me.
All right, you heard that. Get them streams up. Now, you know, I ain't finna leave up here while I asking you this because I seen this on the show. 40 days, no Aki Hall. Yo, what's going on with the 40 days, yo? What's up with that?
Yeah, I just wanted to like give myself a reset.
Okay.
I kind of been running on fumes for a minute. Just
I feel you.
like one day I realized it like damn, like like I feel like I work a lot. So you kind of work, you just functioning, you're going.
Hmm.
I felt like even with drinking and stuff, it was becoming a part of my process. Like I'd
Hmm.
come in the studio, I'll drink. And that was a cool for a while. That was cool for years. And then suddenly it just really wasn't working no more.
Mm.
I felt like it just wasn't fun anymore as it used to be. Cause I realized we weren't drinking necessarily for fun anymore, if that makes sense. I felt like I was
Yeah.
just more so making that my way to relax, making that my way to uh in one part of my day, right?
Right.
And I don't know, I just felt like I needed a little bit of a break. Um, you gotta you won't enjoy something if you don't miss it, right?
There you go.
And
Yeah.
right now, I really wasn't enjoying it no more. It wasn't that fun. The tequila wasn't tequila no more, if that makes
You weren't
sense.
having fun with the tequila, though? Nah, but
No, it was just I don't know, it just wasn't that fun. And like I come from bartending, right? So
right.
I feel like in the process of that, when I was bartending, to bartend, for me, I had to drink a lot because
Mm.
the people kind of could get annoying if you not like dealing with drunk people and you not like tipsy yourself is
I know.
way different. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
So I started drinking a lot because of that. And I just need a little break. So I'm almost done. I'm at I got about a week left.
There you
So
go. Turn
I
up.
had to look at my calendar, but even when I do go back, it's not gonna be too crazy. Like, I think my relationship with liquor has changed and just
Mm,
now, I haven't had to deal with myself soberly in a while. So it was
mm,
an adjustment and it was much needed. I feel a lot better. My skin looks better. My sleep is better.
word.
Um, I will say, like, being like things that when things are annoying and whatnot, it's a little bit different, but I've had to learn
Mm,
how to deal with that, do some breath work, um,
there you go.
get back into my actual self. So
Nothing wrong with sabbatical. Do a little shadow work. I feel you. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
I might do my 40 days soon. You feel me? That's that Midwest bottle culture though. It's always like, yo, what you got on the bottle? Yo, go grab
Man, I swear, like like yeah, like man, Cleveland's so drunk.
it.
Like it's crazy. Everywhere you go, it's Don Julio, it's Milagro,
Yeah.
it's tequila everywhere. Like if I literally go outside right now, I could find you empty bottles of tequila somewhere within like the 100 feet of where I'm at right now. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
like
big
I
facts.
partaked in a lot of it. I did, but I just need a break.
There you go. I feel you on that. Reset. Oops. I'm taking inspiration from that. Do my 40. Not today, but maybe tomorrow. Um,
No, I feel you.
but outside of that, man, is there anything else before we get up out of here you would like the audience to know about you? Anything we missed? Anything, hell, yeah, we need to know about you aside of just where to stream your music at. Anything you want to know that sets you apart from why we should listen to you outside of anybody else? Anything within that realm? I'm gonna give you that last minute to say what you got to say. You feel me?
I definitely feel like you should listen to me if you want real lyrics, right? Like
Right.
I rap about all type of stuff, but the main thing that I rap about is pretty much my experience, right? And I think those are experiences that a lot of people can relate to, girls, guys, women, men, whoever.
Mm,
I rap about just where I'm actually at. It's not all cap. You know what I'm saying? Like
I feel you.
everybody, we all work, we all live we all just trying to get through our days. And, if you want to hear real music, uplifting, I'm not necessarily this happy all the time person, but at the same time, we got a lot of dark stuff in this world right now. So like
Mm,
I try to break that up. I go by pastel because, if you take a dark color, right? Any dark color, navy blue, for instance, it's really dark. If you add white to it, the more white light you add to it, it becomes pastel, it becomes bright. That's
mm,
my way I look at life. And that's kind of what I want to present to the world. And and hopefully infect others with that same thought process. So listen to me if you want some good vibes, some relatable vibes. If you want to feel like there's somebody who gets it.
for sure. That was bars. You letting it on bars. I was like, damn, let me go to see your shit right now. But I appreciate you coming through, sitting down with us. And once again, Chelsea Pastel, make sure y'all check out the music. It's been a pleasure talking to you, building with you, sister. Much luck. Hopefully we can do something in the future. Hopefully next time we do this, you're gonna be like holding a Grammy or some shit. You feel me? We're gonna talk into
Definitely.
existence. You
Thank
feel
you. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I appreciate you guys having me. This is really dope.
Hey, very dope. Appreciate you. So that's all I got. Peace.
Peace out.
Shit got fake and I will not pretend to forgive and forget when I really want revenge. Town full of snakes like I live in a den. Drown them in a lake, made a bag with the skin. 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. Best in the city and I don't gotta try. Ain't no other bitch that could change my mind. Got these niggas wet like ooh la la. Time really flies, just last month you was on the team but you had to get cut. Play both sides so you find yourself stuck. Now you wanna cry like I really give a fuck. Bitch, I don't give a fuck about none of these hoes. Switched up quick in a true color show.